Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Welcome, welcome. This episode is for you if you want to connect deeply with yourself and feel encouraged to pursue your dreams boldly. My guest today is column writer, investor, founder, and TEDx speaker, Karla Singson. Welcome to the show, Karla.
Hi, Lucy. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to talk about my story and hopefully inspire the community.
So, what does having the audacity to go after your dreams personally mean to you?
For me personally, it means being unafraid to go against the grain and being unafraid to be honest with yourself. Sometimes I see a lot of people kind of like sleepwalking through life and feeling like they have to follow a certain plan that was already laid out for them. Like, go to school, go to college, get a job, get married, have two babies, and like it's just like a plan that without them asking if that's really what they want. So I think I love the word audacity because it has somehow made rebellion a positive thing. Which is like the recurring theme of my life.
Can you share your life story when you had to summon the courage to start over or chase a new dream?
Gotcha. So, I guess the earliest example I could share is right after college. I graduated college very early. I graduated at 19, and I had a pretty good college resume, like for what it is. I was the president of the debate varsity. I was table tennis champion. I was also, I graduated business, I graduated marketing. And I thought like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like all of these companies will be fighting all over me. My young arrogance was like playing in my head. But as I started to apply for jobs, I realized that nobody wants to hire a teenager in their heads, I was still like a flight risk. They still think that I'd show up to work drunk or that they just didn't trust like young people. Even though I had like a pretty good college resume. So it was actually hard for me to find a job. And I did find a job as a copywriter for a very short time, just a few months, and then for an ad agency. And then I ended up playing poker at night. And then I started to make five times what I was making in my day job. And so I just quit. I just quit and then I played poker for a bit. And then my parents were like, that's not a real job. That's not a real career. And then, so of course, I thrive by my parents' approval because I'm Asian. But, but that made me quit it. And then I started to just try a few things. I had a career in hosting and like emceeing. I emceed a lot of weddings. I had a career in freelance writing and journalism. I had a career in teaching as well. I taught college for a bit. So I tried different things, but I guess those are some of the milestones or some of my early examples of just like going against the grain and having the audacity to just like go after what I want, even though as a young person that seemed so flippant and like reckless.
Thank you for sharing your story. You indeed pivoted many times, and so have I. But how do you differentiate between being persistent and knowing when to pivot?
Yeah, that's actually honestly, in my opinion, there's no right way to do it. And it's hard because people will always ask you that advice. Actually, like, should I keep going or should I just, because giving up somehow has a negative connotation, but also sometimes it's good to stop doing the thing that you're doing because maybe you're meant for something else. So it's really difficult. I guess I guess the best advice I could give is self-awareness, having self-awareness and reflecting a lot. And when people ask me, how did you make these decisions? I always say I sat with myself in silence and I really asked myself, what do I really want? Because in every moment that we are making a decision, you are doing your best with the information that you have. And really, that's all you have. There needs to be no pressure to know more if you know you've done your best and you've done all of this thinking, all of this writing down the pros and cons. So the next question to really answer is what feels right, what feels right in your conscience, what feels right within your nervous system. And whatever, wherever that led me, that's what I did.
And when you do it, we often feel fear, right? Feel
Mhm.
of failure, fear of
Yeah.
judgment. What mental shift helped you the most to push through those self-doubts?
Yeah, actually, I learned this from talking to so many female entrepreneurs. I also did mentorship for a little bit. I still do it, but very, very selective. Um, I noticed that for female entrepreneurs, the other insurmountable thing is shame. I learned that a lot of female entrepreneurs either don't do the thing or don't persist to do the thing because they're actually not scared to fail. They're scared of the shame that follows failure. They don't, it's okay for them to fail, but they don't want people to know that they failed. So let's do that. If you're working on something, yes, you can market, but you don't have to tell everyone your goals. You don't have to say like what is your real financial goal or how much do you need to retire. You don't need to share this information with people. So, keep your goal to yourself and to get that fear out of the way. First is get shame out of the way. Be okay with the fact that even if you fail, it is tuition, it is learning, and everyone fails. Tiger Woods didn't win and when he was starting to play golf, right? Like you have to lose. It's part of life. You have to lose many times before you win because that's just how it goes. Like all these tennis players, Serena Williams, whatever, like it's the same thing. So get shame out of the way, be okay with failing. And I guess number three is always remember that the only thing that will never betray you is your effort. So, you will find in life that people will betray you and it hurts a lot. Your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your coworker, your employee, someone that you really trust, your cousin, your mother. These people could betray you. And I don't say this for everyone to just have a negative mindset, but bring the focus back to yourself and your faith in yourself and your efforts. So, I think if you think about, my efforts will never betray me, it will just keep you inspired, whichever way you want to go.
Thank you for sharing. And for me, it's always been about confidence.
Right.
I feel confidence is the pillar, is our groundwork in the mansions, in the dream
Hmm.
house that we're building called life, right?
Yeah.
But what role does confidence play in taking audacious actions towards your dreams for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Because, with my experience in public speaking, most people would think I'm a naturally confident person, and I'm the eldest child of an Asian family. And, with that comes like ingrained confidence. And I get it. I get it. But I think, first of all, confidence comes with competence, right? So the more competent you are at something, the more your confidence increases. Like, for example, I'm bad at chess. I've probably been 20 years since I played my last game of chess. If someone challenges me to a game of chess, I will not be confident because I'm not competent at it. But if I play chess every day on my phone and I played against these, even if it's just a hobby, the consistency and, building my competence, I think I'll be more confident to play like a random game or karaoke. I'm Filipino. Karaoke is in my DNA. I will never be confident if I didn't like practice this song 100 times, unless I'm just naturally extroverted or I'm naturally, gregarious and outgoing. So I think competence is number one. And number two is again thinking about the worst case scenario. So I think sometimes even if I'm not competent at something or when I was new at business, if I realized that if I just taught myself that the worst case scenario is not that bad, it actually gave me more confidence to do the thing because I feel like I had nothing to lose or that I'll be okay with whatever I lose.
Yes, I love all of those. But, life happens. We all have
True.
those setbacks. We get through our own lemons, and sometimes we feel progress just too slow. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
How do you stay motivated?
Yeah. I think it's different for everyone. I think because I grew up To be completely honest, I wouldn't call it motivated, but I just had to. My back was against the wall, the bills are coming. And I just had to make it work. And I moved, I traveled a lot, and I moved to different countries on my own. And I just had to make it work. Like, sure, when I got older, I had credit cards to kind of help me out when times are rough, but you still have to pay, you still have to pay those credit cards. So even though they helped me, I remember like I just have to do this. There's no other way. It's doing this or not surviving or dying, basically, right? So I think when times are hard, you can, I thought that's how I thought about it. But now, because I'm not, in a survival mode, I would say when times are hard, um, the way that I just continue pushing is I think going back to all those thoughts of like, my efforts will never betray me. I need to be okay with the worst case scenario. And then you know what encourages me? Sometimes I literally Google failure stories of famous entrepreneurs. And it's so easy. You guys can do this with ChatGPT now. You can literally go on ChatGPT and type right now, hey, ChatGPT, I'm feeling down today. Can you please tell me two meaningful stories? And you can make this as customized as possible. Two meaningful stories of immigrants who failed in their business when they were starting, and then they eventually, something like that. I would definitely encourage you guys to do that.
I love that you moved to Mexico, by the way. You didn't want to wait until retirement to live near a beach, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah, thank you. It was such a pivotal moment. I think something changed in my brain when I did that, actually, because growing up in the Philippines, you always think that ending up in a first world country is your finish line, like maybe Canada, maybe the US, UK, Australia, or something like that. But then when I traveled to these countries and I spent a lot of time in these developed countries, I realized that it's not really everything. Having like what a Louis Vuitton store like 10 minutes from you is like not everything, or living in a big city that's also like polluted, I realized was not like everything to me. So I started to get real with my truth and with what was important to me. And my calling at that time, because it was the pandemic, was putting my health first, not just my physical health, but my mental health. And, I am now a permanent resident of Mexico. I'm so happy. And the last 5 years of my life has been honestly like a milestone. And as a bonus, I actually met my husband here. So I think this move definitely was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Well, that's what happens when you dream up new dreams, right?
True.
So, what have you learned about letting go of the old version of yourself in order to make space for
Mm.
the new dreams? Because we want to become the next version, but we got to let go of some of the old baggage, right?
True, true. That's so true. I think looking back, when I go on Facebook and I click memories, do you guys do this? I see like my old cringe photos, my old cringe posts, and I give myself a pat on the back because now I'm more true to myself. And I even see the times when I wore some outfits so that I didn't feel like wearing, but because they were in trend, or somehow I felt the pressure to wear them because I don't know, maybe I'll look successful in the eyes of other people. I think that I think that leaving your old self behind is not an instant thing. I think it happens gradually. It can happen as small as you choosing different products for your skin, you choosing different outfits, and then you choosing to talk differently, you choosing to behave differently around people, and changing, and then eventually you see yourself changing some of the biggest beliefs that you have in your life. Like the small thing for me was definitely changing the way I talk, because in the past I used to be a debater, I used to be a public speaker, I used to talk like a lawyer. And I realized that I wasn't connecting with people, but I was so obsessed about sounding smart. And now I don't know, I just talk like I'm on Rick and Morty, and this is just me, guys. Let's just have fun here. And then that's my small thing that I noticed. And then the big thing that I noticed, or the big change that I had, like leaving my past behind, is in the past, I was very gung ho about living a child-free life. Like, I didn't want kids. I didn't want to be around kids. I just think they were a nuisance and 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 all of that. But now I love kids. I love my nieces, and my husband and I are really excited to start our own family. And yeah, it didn't happen in one snap for sure. It was a series of learning and relearning and being
Mm,
honest with myself.
yeah. And a lot of people aren't afraid to let go of that old version because of the uncertainty that's ahead with the new, right? Because when we start something again, we're starting new or we're moving,
Yeah.
we're entering a different season in our life. There's all
Yeah.
these uncertainties. And I am who I am today because I've learned the ability to embrace the uncertainties because that's the only true certainties we have in life. How do you handle uncertainty?
I love that question because as you were talking, I kept hearing the word uncertainty. And I was going to say, I want to talk about that word. I want to do a quick mental exercise, right? So, what is an uncertainty? What are examples of uncertainties that are negative? Let's say a hurricane, right? A typhoon. It will hit at this wind, but maybe it will be worse, right? It happened. What is an uncertainty that's negative? Maybe like an illness when the doctor is telling you, we're still running tests, but we don't know what it is. That sounds negative because now you know you're sick, but you don't know what it is, right? And then you can think of other things. So let's think about positive uncertainties. So, surprise that your husband is keeping from you. So he's like he's telling you white lies about what the thing is because he has something planned for you. Okay. And then another uncertainty is you got into the top five of Miss Universe, but you don't know where you are. Am I Miss Universe? Am I first runner up? But it's positive, right? So the common denominator about the positive uncertainties is excitement. So my main thing is if I'm just excited about life, I'm gonna be good. All of my uncertainty, and even if the negative thing actually happens and I seem naive and whatever, I think I'll be fine. But because I think majority of our emotions is in the remuneration or sorry, rumination is in the rumination. Like the highest dopamine, you actually get the highest dopamine from a trip when you're planning the trip and looking forward to the trip versus the trip. So if you have a 3 day trip that you're super excited about, you're gonna feel the dopamine for months as you're looking forward to it. And it's the same thing. So I'm just now naturally excited about life and I get the most out of that. And if a bad thing happens, I'll feel bad in the moment. Maybe for an hour, or maybe a day I'll cry or whatever, but about life.
Beautifully said. It's all about being excited, right?
Yeah.
It's all about being having fun.
Yeah, true. True.
So besides moving to Mexico, what's one bold decision you made that you think completely changed the trajectory of your life?
Uh, huh. I guess in a way, like when I left the Philippines, but it's still kind of related to moving countries. But I guess resisting taking a job. I think resisting taking a job. Like, don't get me wrong, I think having a job is amazing for most people, but it was not right for me. But I have been tempted to take a job many, many times because my business was down. But I stood with my truth. And to be honest, I'll feel bad for my boss. I think I'll be a bad employee. I think I'll be late all the time and then I'll be like not following instructions or whatever. But I genuinely think it will not be right with my truth, with my skills. And I feel bad for the people working with me because I will not be operating in the way that they expect me to. So I think just even though it was so hard because I was so down financially, I had a time when I borrowed money from everyone. I masked my credit cards. I pawned all my jewelry, and that's just a day in the life of an entrepreneur. So that was a time when I can remember really that I stood on my ground and I'm like, I'm not taking a job, and I'm definitely happy it paid off.
Yeah. And of course, during those days when you want to go after your dream, you're going to feel you're not ready
Yeah,
because of XYZ blank, fill in the blank, right? All
yeah,
these reasons. Oh, you're on food stamps. Oh, you're single.
yeah,
Oh, you're maxed out your credit card.
yeah.
So how can someone find the courage in those moments?
I think that in those moments, the most important thing is leaning on your strengths. So you mentioned that, oh, what if I'm on food stamps? What if I'm poor? What if I'm ugly? What if, like we have so many things that are like negative, but we also have a lot of strengths. We all have strengths and weaknesses. I'm weak at design, any design. I can even barely put my makeup on. I'm weak at like any form of visual arts, honestly. I've joined, those sip and paint events?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I suck at those. I'm okay in the sip part. In the
I
paint
love
part,
them.
no. I know they said it's so relaxing, but like I am not relaxed right now because I see everyone just painting these amazing paintings and I'm here like drawing a moon or something. It doesn't even look like a moon. It looks like a dead fingernail. But yeah, so but I have my strengths, so I lean on my strengths. I'm really good at marketing. I'm really good at this. I'm not very good at operations. I'm not very good at like HR. I'm not very good at these other things, so I hire for that. So remembering your strengths, I think, is really key to get over that feeling.
Thank you for the reminder to focus on the right things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we all have our weaknesses, but we all have our strength. So make sure you're focusing on your strength instead of just putting yourself down,
Hmm.
spiraling and ruminating in the negativity of your weaknesses. So I love that reminder. Okay, one last question before I let you go. How do you define success now compared to when you first started your business?
Yeah. Actually, when I started my business, I defined success as freedom, as location freedom, financial freedom, freedom from the opinions of others. I've been saying that line for so long, honestly. And and I don't think it's true. I think that is success. But as the years went by, I have tied success mostly to peace. I think when
Mm.
you live a peaceful life away from being chained or enslaved really by the opinions of others or a particular outcome in the industry or in whatever is trending. So I think being you depending on that will not give you peace, will not bring you peace. Same thing as if you have a coworker or if you have an employee that is not bringing peace of mind to you and you have to micromanage them, maybe it's not a good match. So right now, peace is definitely a point of success for me. I am not interested in getting to the next comma, getting to 8 or 9 figures. I don't care to be a billionaire, to be honest. I've read a lot of billionaire biographies and I do not wish to have their life, like truly, genuinely. And I've honestly loved my life the best because it was just peaceful. So that's how success changed for me throughout the years.
Me too. I think setting boundary has always been easy for me because
Yeah.
I care about my peace. I
Yeah.
really value that. So you just gotta know your values and priorities, and it can be different for everyone. There's no right or wrong answer here, but we're
Hmm.
just here to inspire you to maybe expand your mindset and think differently so that you're able to grow and pursue your own dreams. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for being here with us, Carla. Before I let you go, is there a quote that you go in life when you resort to, uh, that you resort to when you need a dose of motivation yourself?
Yeah, I really love this quote. And I'm not sure if it's exact actually. Maybe I have to ChatGPT the original, but it was kind of you're only as happy as you decide to be, or something like that. And growing up poor and honestly feeling like I got the bad part, the bad end of, the birth lottery, being born in the Philippines, being born in a poor country, in a developing country with an ugly passport. Like it was hard for me to travel, it's hard for me to get certain opportunities. And there are racist people everywhere. Like there, I just felt at in the past, I just felt very kind of like, woe is me, right? Like I get jealous about people who were born in America or like people who are taller, prettier, like whatever, from a richer family or something like that. My parents also passed away in my 20s. And I started to feel jealous, honestly, about people who still have their parents. Like if their parents are alive, I had this moment when I was just angry at them. Like they would be complaining about something, and in my head, I'm like, well, at least your mom is alive. Like I had these thoughts. But when I read that quote, I realized that, you know, in a way, everyone is carrying their own cross, and we do deserve to be happy, and we can choose to be happy and content with what we have. And so it has helped me kind of manage my emotions and manage um, more positive thoughts in my life, which of course led to a lot of good things. Because if you think good thoughts, if you feel good about yourself, then everything follows. It's easy to be a good leader. It's easy to be a good sister, a good wife, a good friend, so that's it.
Thank you for sharing. And you know what? That reminds me of yesterday I went out to eat with my mom
Yeah.
and my dad and
Yeah.
my husband, and the waitress came up to us and said, "Is this your parents?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like,
Yeah.
"I am so jealous. I wouldn't be able to stand 5 minutes of my mom."
Oh,
Yeah, so never take for granted what you have in life because we don't
totally.
think about it until it's gone, right?
Totally.
So it doesn't matter what it is that you have, you are abundant. It doesn't matter where you started with,
Yeah.
what you have now. Have an abundant mindset. Believe that everything you have is already abundant
Yeah.
and watch your life change when you have that mindset with you
Yeah. Put your
24/7.
focus there. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. Okay, thank you again for being with us. All of Carla's links are linked below, so connect with her if you've enjoyed this episode. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Lucy. It's been a pleasure.